And welcome to No Excuses. My name is Rodney Arbona, and once again, we're looking to enhance, inspire your well-being. And tonight we have a very special guest who is very multi-talented and has a heart of gold and looking to help everybody pave the way into their future. I would like to introduce my guest tonight. With me is Danielle, Nicolette, Najarian. How are you today? You made me laugh. I knew you were going to do that.
I am good. I'm good.
Welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So, as an actress, you write, you produce, and a little secret I'm going to share with everybody. I heard you sing on YouTube. I found a little clipping of you. It was really short, but you have an awesome voice.
Aww.
So maybe that should be another career you can think of, but you have a lot going on in your plate.
Thank you.
So I'd like to ask you some questions about how this all came about. So what got you into acting?
I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was in Catholic school, and I wouldn't sit down in class. The teachers teach. So they didn't know what to do with me, and after numerous parent-teacher conferences with my parents, they decided to put me on stage and give me a role in the, Christmas pageant or whatever it was, the plays that they had. And I think it was probably one of the first times I was memorizing lines with my mother.
Wow.
I'll never forget it. She was working with me as she was cooking dinner, and we were going over the lines, and she was like, people do this for a living. And I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, they're called actors. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
That's so perfect.
And it was just like, it felt really natural, and it's almost like it felt like that's who I was.
That's
and that's
awesome.
how it started from there, and ever since then I was in the plays, working in theater and stuff
All
like that.
through school?
Yeah, all through school.
Excellent, excellent. So let's fast forward a little bit now.
Okay.
What was your next step? When did you decide, I'm going to take this as a career? And where did you go with it from there? What was your steps?
Wow.
Your first step. Let's start there.
Oh, first step. Well, like I said, I've been doing it my whole life. So I started out in theater, and I would be in the school plays, and then I went to community theater. I missed my junior formal because I was a lead role in a play.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I missed a lot. Sacrificed a lot to do what I loved. But after that, then right when I think I was still in high school, I was going into Pennsylvania to take acting classes. My mom was driving about an hour and a half into Pennsylvania every week to take me to classes, and then. Just studied, and the next thing I knew, I was off to college, and I was going into the city every weekend as my friends were partying on the weekends. I was leaving, and I was going up to Manhattan, and I was training as a dancer. So I started doing backup dancing.
Wow.
With stars like Mariah Carey and stuff like that.
Excellent.
And little by little, it went from doing commercials on MTV to, singing in a band right out of college, and then it was after that I finally went out to California and focused more on television and film.
So how was it in California? What challenges did you have to go through, and what did California do for you?
Wow.
So let's go with the challenges first. Let's inspire people here.
Okay, lots of challenges.
Great.
Lots of challenges. Life is a
challenge.
Life,
yes, it is.
It challenges us in every way. But one of the biggest challenges for me was leaving home.
Sure.
My mother and father never really flew. We didn't travel much. If we did, it was road trips, and they were very afraid to fly. And so I had never flown in a plane before.
Look at that.
And so when I was in college, and I flew to Florida with some friends and to go see my cousins, and that was my first time on a plane. The second time on a plane was basically I had gotten a one-way ticket, and I said, that's it. I'm going to California. I don't know when I'll be back. It's not a round trip. This is, I'm going out there. And
good for you.
So the biggest challenge at that point was leaving home, packing a bag, and going to a state that I had never visited before, and flying on a plane when it was only my second time. And I was solo. I was by myself flying, so it was pretty intense.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we get this one-way ticket, so obviously it's a no-excuse situation, right? We're going there.
Yeah.
You got the focus that I'm going to make this happen.
Yes.
Right?
I have to repent. I
Please.
didn't tell my parents that I was going until probably a week before I left, after I'd already booked the ticket and I packed and everything was done. And I was just like, oh, by the way, I'm going to California. Well, when are you coming back? You're going to California. Wait a minute, hold on a second. We don't know anyone in California. And I was just like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'll see you around. And it was all done.
Good for you.
So I couldn't really I couldn't be talked out of it. It was basically,
Good for you. So that was your focus.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when you're in California, what was your first opportunity?
Oh, wow. When I was in California, I was just focused on trying to find a home and a job. And, again, I didn't really search it out. Even as a child, I didn't search out the industry or acting or all that. But when I went out to California, I was so in awe of what California had to offer. It was gorgeous. The weather, the mountains, the ability to just see the sun every day. It just blew me away, and I got very caught up with it. But I have to thank God for the friend of mine who had let me stay on his couch when I first went out there.
Look at that.
He was like, "You can crash on my couch." They became like my family. It was my friend. My friend, he had one room. There was two other brothers that lived in the apartment. So it was three guys and me on the couch. And aside from drooling on myself in the middle of a male apartment, they were just like, come on, we'll get you, started and get your feet wet in the industry. And why don't you start doing extra work? And I was like, wow, that's interesting. I never really thought about it. It's kind of like backup dancing, right? And they're like, yeah. So I started doing extra work. And that was like one of my first, introductions into the entertainment industry. And I worked on some amazing shows, everything from Desperate Housewives to House, JAG, NCIS,
That's awesome.
all of it. So
what was the first show you were on?
Oh, goodness, I don't remember. It was one of those two.
One of those.
I'm trying to think the first one. Was it ER? No, it was one of those.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, back then.
What was the first show that you had multiple times on the show?
Okay, that would probably be NCIS. I was working as a secretary, and I was a recurring extra on that for a couple times, and then House.
Okay.
Was my second television show that I was a reoccurring. And then, from then on,
ABC?
Oh.
I did a little homework.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I worked with Will Smith for a while. Will
That's
Smith
awesome.
and Alfonso Ribeiro. I worked on their television show, All of Us.
Okay.
And that was one of the first times they actually said, can you commit to the show and be our in-house reoccurring extra on the show? And I said, oh my gosh, yes. And at that point, I wasn't even in the Screen Actors Guild yet. I think this was probably about a month into me being in California. So about a month being out there. I wasn't in the union, didn't really know anyone, but when I started working as a recurring extra on All of Us, they needed union extras. So I wound up getting, I think, my first voucher from them. And then, was it my first? I don't know, my first voucher, but then my second and my third came from that. And then I waited, I think, a year or two before I joined the union, but I was just like, But yeah. So I started out on their show, and then from then on, I would do reoccurring roles as an extra, and then I started on a show called Private Practice, which was a spinoff of Grey's Anatomy, and I think one of the first times I worked as an extra on the show, they asked me, "Can you commit to the show and be one of our recurring extras?" I said, "Oh my gosh, yes, of course." I gave them my schedule, and it was. I started out as a nurse, and then they're like, "We want you as our secretary behind the desk," because now Dell, who was working as the secretary on the show, he had become one of the doctors of the practice, and so they made me the receptionist. And a couple months later, I wound up getting lines, and they wrote a role in for me, and it went from there.
That's awesome. How did that feel?
Oh wow! Oh. It was a lot of emotions kind of happening at once, because at first it was surreal. I did not see that happening or coming. It just was, my heart was just to continue working as an extra. I loved it. I loved what I did. I mean, to me, I was the secretary in the show. It just didn't really, shift. And then it was like, okay, now we want you to do lines and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, wow. So it was everything that I had dreamed and more. It was because the people that I worked with on the show were amazing. The actors were, you know, award-winning, you know, actors. A lot of them are from New York. Great team of crew to work with. I learned so much.
That's awesome.
So much. It was invaluable. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So what would you, now what do you got going on right now? You had something recently happen as well.
Currently, wow, we jumped from there. It's back here. Okay. So when I was in California, I worked on the show Private Practice until the show got canceled.
Okay.
And then once the show ended, I decided to come back east and be with my family.
Very good. That was my question. What brought you back to the East Coast?
Oh, my family.
Great.
Yeah, I missed them. I missed them a lot. I did not intend to stay in California for almost a decade, and that's what it wound up being.
Wow, is that long,
yeah,
huh?
It wound up being almost a decade.
That's great.
Yeah, I was only going to go for 6 months too.
So much for a one-way ticket.
Yeah. yeah. So.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so I you know, what was I saying?
You came back to the East Coast because of the family. East Coast.
Yes. And just wanted to spend time with my family. Just wanted to hide out in the
Sure.
woods, you know, where my family lives, and really get that sense of family again, because I come from an Italian, you know, Armenian family, and you know, again, it's all about
family.
Yeah.
Tight knit.
Yes. Love.
Sunday dinners.
Yes, home cooked meals. I was getting tired of having a home cooked meal shipped to me frozen across the country.
Really? Are you kidding?
Yeah. Oh no,
oh, that's awesome.
My grandmother was amazing.
That's fantastic.
She would literally she made these Armenian pastries that they were like almost like bread.
Okay.
They're called chorag, and so she would freeze this chorag and literally go to a specialty place where you can ship food 3,000 miles across the country just so I could have my Armenian food.
Oh my gosh, how did that feel when that showed up?
That, you know, that was amazing, because LA, you know, it's busy. It's you know, it's kind of like New York City.
Right.
So you kind of lose that sense of home and family a little bit. And so whenever those packages would come in the mail, I just was like, oh, Grandma, you're with me. My family's with me. So, you know, I had that kind of like strength and that support saying, here, fill yourself up with some bread and keep it moving.
And you know it came from love, so that made it even more powerful, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it was so funny because the boxes would come and they'd be all beat up. But I'd be so excited. That was like my most favorite gift to get when I was
It was probably the delivery person smelling it and saying, how do I open this thing up and get it for myself?
They are addicting. They are addicting, yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
So now we're back on the East Coast. What have you been doing?
Oh goodness, a lot of stuff. I've been writing. I started producing, working behind the scenes a little bit.
Excellent.
But nonetheless, my first love, acting, has been taking center stage. So
Fantastic.
I just finished USA's Mr. Robot.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
That's awesome.
It was great. It was excellent. I mean, working with
Sam
Esmail and Rami Malek was just. That was a blessing.
Good for you.
Yeah, they're great. They're very professional and brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant.
That's
Writing,
outrageous.
yeah.
So what would you say to a person or persons who are thinking of becoming an actor and actress? What would you think would be something, a word of advice and inspiration?
Are you sure this is what you want to do? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. No, that's what was told to me my whole life. No, I would say give it all you've got and don't stop. I mean, if this is what you truly want, just, you know, fight. Be willing to sacrifice. Be willing to sacrifice to a certain degree, and never lose who you are in the process. Never lose your boundaries, your morals, and your heart, who you really are. You know, hold on to that.
I can see that in you. I mean, we've had an opportunity to talk a couple times, and I see your heart is always there, and you're a very kind person, and you share a lot of information. So I think there's some part of you, I could imagine, in what you just said, that you like to see somebody else succeed as well.
Oh, yeah. Succeeding is such a difficult thing. It's not something that comes easily.
Right.
And, you know, if I didn't have the friends and the family that I have in my life to support me and strengthen me and even encourage me along the way, you know, I would not be where I am today, and I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for those people. So I can only hope that I can touch someone's life like that too. You know,
that's great.
One thing that's really heavy on my heart, it's why I became an actress in the first place, was not so much because I was a little girl and they were throwing me on stage and like, you know, entertain us. No, I was actually very shy. I was not, even though I like to talk to people and socialize, it was socializing. It wasn't with a camera or a crowd, an audience, So that actually intimidated me. That,
did it?
Yeah. I didn't want the attention. I didn't want people to know my name. I wanted people to know my character's name. I wanted people to know what my character was going through. The struggles, the heartache, the impossibilities becoming possible, the hopelessness then finding hope, the things that we struggle through in life and we don't see a way out or we don't see the light on the end of that tunnel. That was what I loved doing as a performer.
Okay.
And so when I saw that, the roles that I would take on would touch people, would make them laugh, would make them cry, would make them question, or just think about themselves in a different way. That was when I just knew this is what I want to do. My heart is to heal people. My heart is to
very nice.
Just everything about the human being. You know how people fight for animals, people fight for the environment, people fight for this, they fight for that.
Absolutely.
My heart, I guess you could say, is humanitarian.
Humanitarian,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, I never put a label on it. But,
that's okay.
But yes, I want to help the human being become the best that they can be because we're not born perfect.
Right.
We are created and we are designed as we go.
That's right.
And the people that come into our lives and influence us, they will, carve us and refine us and define us along the way. So, I just want people to know how precious they are. And,
that's beautiful. What was your biggest challenge in acting? Like, what was your most difficult role that you said, wow, I really have to really prepare for something like this? Or it's going to take me to another level I didn't expect to be a part of as an actress?
Wow. I would have to say there was a point in time when I was up for a role that was very provocative.
Okay.
And
see that being a challenge?
That was a challenge for me. And it was all about me being the other woman and me being, the vixen and the, whatever. And so I wasn't really comfortable with that because it's not my heart. You know what I mean? I'm not about being the other woman and ruining people's lives.
Not after what you just said, that's for sure.
No. But and so, being openly seductive, and all that type of stuff, it's like either you are attractive or you're not. You're either sexy or you're not.
Right.
To overly do that is like,
so you really had to overextend yourself?
Yeah, it was difficult to do, and I realized, okay, you know what? As much as I may have a certain look or whatever the case is, I know there are other roles that I will fight for that have more, significance or meaning or maybe impact. And if that seductive role is kind of like a Pretty Woman type of a role where it's like she goes from, nothing into something, and that overcoming message, then yes. But something like that was pretty intense, and it was pretty difficult to kind of go there because you're exposing a lot of who you are. People don't realize that, People think that they are acting and you're seductively coming onto a person, and it's like, no, not really.
Well, it's not all that easy, so hence why we ask these questions of you, and thank you for sharing that. So, question on that same level, but complete opposite. What was your most fun role?
Oh my gosh. I'd have to say every role I've had that I've landed, I've had a blast with it, and I've loved everything about it. I do enjoy character roles. I don't know why.
Explain that to us.
But, character roles?
Yes.
Okay, character roles are kind of like, they're quirky. They are the comic relief sometimes in the film or the story. They're edgy, they're different. Sometimes you wouldn't even recognize an actor or an actress when they take on a role that's a character role because they change their look completely. The role I actually just did on Mr. Robot was a complete character role. They completely transformed me. I looked nothing like I do now. I was actually aged about maybe 10 to, maybe not, I'm exaggerating, 30, 40 years I was aged. They put wrinkles on me and gray hair. Yeah, I had gray streaks through my hair. My hair was pulled back in a bun, and I was a really intense security guard at a criminal prison. whatever you want to call
right.
it. So, so it was like an intense role. And, you know, I kind of think of myself as a feminine girl, even though my voice is kind of deep. But yeah, no, so I had fun with that. I had a ball with that.
Did you really?
Know, yeah, she was just, I was this bitter, you know, beaten up by life, beaten up by prisoners and all of that type of an individual in this scene. And so it was pretty dark. It was pretty intense.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah. Mr. Robot is that type of a show. And so so you just had to go there. And that was actually probably one of my favorite roles so far to date.
So when you have a role like that and you know it's going to be that intense, what is the preparation for that? Because obviously it's completely out of your element of who you are as a person.
Right.
I mean, the regular people watching, we don't understand this. So how would you explain that to us?
There's a lot of homework and a lot of research that goes on behind the scenes before you bring a role like that to life. So I love researching. I specifically went to college and got a degree in psychology so that I could understand not only the human being. You are a complicated creature. But anyway, so I wanted to really understand humans.
Roles. Okay. The human
aside
part.
from roles, it was not about acting. It was, like I said, my core desire is to heal people and help people. So I really wanted to understand myself as a human. And as you understand yourself, you can in turn understand others. So in that journey of self-discovery, I got a degree in psychology, and I found that really helped me dig into different characters. So if the character has a psychological disorder, or if the character has been through something in the past, or they have some kind of obstacle to overcome internally as opposed to externally, I love those type of roles. And that's why the character roles have a special place in my heart, because just like I said, this prison guard that I played on Mr. Robot, you know, there's a lot going on inside of her. She's not just this prison guard, you know what I mean? She's been through a lot. And all that's going on behind the scenes. So, you know, preparing is doing research based on the role, the title of the role, whether it's, security guard, and then also understanding the psychology and the emotional and spiritual journey of a security guard in that type of an environment. You know, her life is on the line 24/7. She is a female. She is in a co-ed prison. You know, there's all that going on behind the scenes, and we don't know what she's been through. But in, you know, my journey with her and, you know, bringing her to life, I gave her those elements. You know, she had gotten raped by one of the inmates.
Wow.
She was beaten up and abused as a child, which is what led her to this life. So I gave her this whole backstory. And even though I'm on the screen for however many minutes, that's what I brought to the table. So there's a lot that you can do behind the scenes to prepare. Amazing. Yeah, it's not just about the wardrobe or the outward appearance. It's about what's on the inside.
That's pretty amazing. So there's all this going on behind the scenes, which seems to me it's hours upon hours.
Oh, yeah, days.
Or days of research is what you're saying.
Yeah.
For a handful of minutes. How do you take all that information and compress it into this person that the audience is going to see just for a few minutes? Like, is there something going through your mind that you're saying, okay, I did all this research, it took me 2 days to understand a prison guard and what they got to go through, and now I need to crunch it into X amount of minutes?
I try not to let my brain get that deeply involved with analyzing it. I try to take that information, let it become a part of me, and then also draw from the parts of me that relate to that. So in a way, it's not that I'm reaching to be this person or to be her. I am her. And what I've lived through, I bring to the table as well. So there's all that other history and research as well. That's why I like a lot of character roles, or I like a lot of strong women roles. I play a lot of lawyers, police officers, you know, doctors, scientists, strong women, because that's what I have to bring to the table. I have a strong voice, I have a strong presence. You know, I've worked on my physique to be strong. So that all comes, and that comes, it's under the radar. And you don't think about it when you're in that moment. You're holding a gun in your hand, or you're locking a prisoner in. It's just there. It's there. It's not here. It's here. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else in acting have you done, or have you done any stunt work?
Oh, yeah.
Have you really?
Yes, I have. I used to train with Noel Vega out in Los Angeles, California. Not too long after I'd gotten out there, I found him and his team. They were great. They were awesome. Oh my gosh! The minute I stepped foot on the grass, that we were out in this park, just training, and the minute I stepped foot on the grass, they're like, "You over here, boom!" And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh!" I just went over some dude's shoulder. Can I at least get your name before you toss me? Okay. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
That's great.
No, it was great. It was great because I want to do my own stunts. I mean,
Excellent.
I know that a lot of productions are like, we don't want you to get hurt. We have somebody to do that for you.
Don't break a nail.
But I want to do as much as my own stunts as I possibly can. Everything from, I know how to handle guns, motorcycles, hand-to-hand combat, all that type of stuff. Flipping, falls, all of it. So yeah.
Okay, so have you done stunt work? Or was this part of your training?
Yeah.
So
I did.
You did, really?
Yeah, I did when I was out in California. And then what I do to kind of keep up on it out here in New Jersey is I go hiking. Yeah,
hiking can do it.
So I do that. Like I climb through mountains and I challenge myself and I keep, my body in shape that way until, I start to actually work on a
That's excellent.
project. Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
What's the next part? What's the next part of your life? What's going on next? What do you see yourself doing next?
Very good question. I see myself in a motion picture movie.
Excellent.
Yeah, I see myself as a principal role in a motion picture film, yeah.
I'd like you to, if you can, we only have about 45 seconds left to go. I can't believe where the time went. So first off, I want to thank you very much for being on the show. You've given so much insight to what we don't get to see as the people in the audience. And that's awesome because, you've gone through so much. You've told us your challenges, your one-way ticket. It's a great story. Most people would be too afraid of going out there saying, I'm just going to have a one-way ticket and let it happen. So thank you for being on the show. And in closing, is there something brief you'd like to say to our audience?
Oh, wow. As far as with regarding acting or regarding
just life.
In general? Oh, life in general, yeah. I encourage everyone that's listening and everyone that is tuning in right now to be true to themselves. Find who they are and find what it is that makes them happy. And don't judge what you do in life based on a dollar amount or a title, but go after what makes you smile and what makes you happy in life. And the money and all that, provisions will come. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
You're
Danielle.
welcome.
Appreciate you being here. And folks, we're at the end of our show. And I want to say thank you to everybody for watching No Excuses. Once again, my name's Rodney Arbona. And please don't forget to go from what Danielle is saying, so from your passion to reality. Just remember the 3 Ps, which is your passion, from your dreams to reality, is your passion, your positivity, and your persistence. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you once again.